All right, everybody, I'm super excited for this. We are going to be exposing the fees of the IUL. So first, let's go ahead and structure this IUL so that we can show you how we come up with these fees. So let's just say that we have somebody who lives in California. Let's just say their name is Bob, male. Let's just say Bob is a young adult who's about 33 years old. He doesn't have perfect health, but he's, semi-healthy, so we'll leave that there. And let's just say that we're going to do the death benefit at a minimum, non-MAC. That's how I run all of my policies. And we're going to do an optimal switch. Basically, what the optimal switch just means is that in the years that you're funding the policy, that's going to be an increasing death benefit once you stop making payments, again, at like retirement age, or really whenever you decide that you want to stop making payments, then it's going to be level because we don't want that death benefit to increase anymore. And so this will just do that on its own without us having to go ahead and manually touch anything. And then for here, let's just say that Bob, being 33 years old, wants to put in $850 a month. And we're going to change this to monthly. And again, let's just say that Bob wants to retire at age 65. So we'll show that. He just wants to finish funding the policy at age 65. And so then what we'll do is we'll go ahead and go to the interest rate. I always do the BNP Paribas Global Age Factor High Par Select. That's because that is the index that has that 30-year historical average of 15.31%. And then for here, you have to click this to turn on the fees. So we're going to turn on the fees there, and then we're going to calculate. All right, here we go, guys. We're going to scroll all the way down here to annual cost summary. Here we go. Fees are going to be exposed to the whole world. All right, here we go. First and foremost, one thing that I definitely want to point out here is if you look here at all the fees in this row, all the way up to here. So this and over to the left are the fees. From premium charge to cost of insurance, these columns right in here are all the fees. Notice how commissions isn't one of those, because I've had to say this so many times and people still comment this in my comments. The commissions that agents make off of the IULs is directly from the life insurance company, not from you guys at all. And so this person is putting $10,200 in a year, or $850 a month, and this premium charge is just a percentage of whatever you put in annually, the life insurance company will take. So $612 all years, but $816 in the first year. And so if we look here, at age 65, you've had this policy for 32 years, and at age 65, you're done making payments. And because of that, now these are all zeros as well. Then, if we look here, per policy expense, this is just a flat fee of $120 to have an IUL every single year. That's very, very self-explanatory. Here is the per 1,000 base. This is only for the first 10 years. You'll notice that throughout the rest of the life of the policy, these are all zeros. And that's just simply because that's just the insurance company trying to eliminate as much risk as possible, because in the first 10 years, you haven't really put in any money into this account. And if you were to pass away within that first 10 years, they still have to pay you, $340,000 or $265,000, and you've only given them 30, 40, 50 grand, and they're going to pay you almost $300K. So they just do that just to kind of balance that risk out a little bit. And then riders, I don't add any riders to mine, to my policy, so those are all zeros. And then the cost of insurance. So in one whole year, you're paying $30 to have $236,000. Now, I'm sure a lot of people are going to be asking right away, well, why does this number get bigger and bigger and bigger every year? There's two reasons for that. The first reason is because your death benefit is getting higher every single year. The way that an IUL stays tax-free is because it's not an investment, it's life insurance. So how does the IUL stay deemed an insurance policy and not categorized as an investment, well, you have to have a corresponding amount of death benefit with the amount of money that you're putting into the policy. And so if you're putting in money every single month, or if you're putting in $10,200 every year, then your death benefit needs to also get bigger every single year too. So they both get higher and higher and higher together. Because if your death benefit stays here, but you keep putting more and more and more and more money into the IUL, eventually it's going to cause the policy to become taxable. Because now it's no longer a life insurance policy. This is literally like a full-blown investment. So therefore it will get taxed. And so that is the first reason why the cost of insurance gets higher every year, because the insurance is getting higher every year. Your death benefit's getting higher every year because you're putting more money into the policy every year. Second reason is because you get older. The older you get, the likelier you are to die. That's super self-explanatory as well. So those are the two reasons why. Now let's see what this policy did throughout its lifetime, right? Let's just say you go ahead and kick the can at 93 years old, right? Today in the United States with modern medicine, people living until age 93 is, very doable. And I also just pick age 93 because everything's already added up here for us in this bottom row, and it makes the math and everything for the video much easier. And so you've had this policy for 60 years, you're now 93 years old, and you've paid in a total of $326,000 of your own money. All right, so now let's pull out the calculator and really see, did this IUL perform? Are the fees really going to eviscerate the policy? Are the fees really going to ruin this policy? Well, let me point this out. You've paid in a total of $326,000. You've turned $326,000 into over $4.5 million tax-free with zero market risk, and these are extremely conservative numbers. I will get into that here in a second. I just want to add this stuff up and show you guys the math. And so $326,400 is exactly what you've put in, right? That's your money going into the policy. Now let's add up all the fees throughout 60 years of having this policy. $19,788 plus $7,200 plus $7,190 plus $117,291. So your total fees in 60 years of having this policy is $151,469. Now, a lot of you are probably like, ugh, wow, that is so much money, $150,000? Well, get this. You got to realize that the fees are due at the end of every year. But guess what else is due at the end of the year? Is it gets credited at the end of the year, your interest. So fees are due at the end of the year, your interest is paid at the end of the year. Whatever your fees are for that year then gets subtracted from your interest accumulated, and then everything that's left over from that then goes into your cash value, right? And so now let's go ahead and add up the cash value of all these years. So right here, the index segment and the conditional credits is basically this insurance company's verbiage of saying bonuses. And then this investment gain / loss here, this is your actual interest paid. So let's go ahead and add these up. $691,077 plus $4,591,379 plus $132,407 equals $5,414,863 is what you would have made. Again, it's an absolute no-brainer. The accumulation is far larger than what you would have paid in fees. And again, you never paid anything in fees because the policy pays for itself. Because the interest that the policy is accruing is literally paying down the fees every year. The fees are covered by the interest of the policy. every year. And now look at this. So yes, right there. Those are the fees exposed for an IUL. Now let's go ahead and look at this, because this is very important. The numbers being shown on this illustration are extremely conservative. Look at this. 30-year historical average for the BNPP Global H Factor High Par Select, which is the index that I selected earlier. That's always the index that I go with. It's uncapped. You're earning a 220% participation rate. And for those of you who don't know what the participation rate means, just think of it as like a multiplier, right? Because if you earn 100% of something, then you're earning that full thing. If you're earning above 100%, well, now you're going to multiply it, right? So also, this index is so good, there's a 1% charge, which was reflected in those numbers and those fees. And the numbers that I showed you just now on those fees was only based off of a very conservative interest rate of 7.07%. Again, that's only showing, those fees that I just showed you, is only showing a very conservative number of 7.07%. Why? Because that's the maximum permitted illustration rate. But this is actually what the 30-year historical average is, 15.31%. It's right there. This is on the contract. This is on the insurance company's contract. Now, some of you guys might be saying, well, you know, that's been the average throughout 30 years. What has it done in the last 5 years? What has it done in the last 10 or 15 years? All right, well, let me show you that too. The last 5 years, this policy has done 17.83%. The last 10 years, it's done 16.87%. The last 15 years, it's done 14.06%. Incredible. Insane. And again, the interest that I showed you in terms of the performance on the fees and the cost breakdown on that on the bottom I just showed you, that $5.4 million is based off of these numbers, actually. So some of you guys might be asking, well, why does this say historical and why does this say hypothetical? This first box right here is showing 100% participation. This box right here, this is showing 220% participation. And so the illustration, the fees that I just showed you now are showing these numbers at 100% participation, at that 7.07% maximum permitted illustration rate. This is showing the 220%, that 15.31 30-year historical average. And so again, even though these numbers are extremely conservative, you can still clearly see showing the conservative numbers that this policy still performs. And so that is this specific IUL that I structure, the fee breakdown getting exposed. If you guys like what you saw in this video, make sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel for a bunch of IUL information, as well as just general business, mindset, and real estate tips as well. If you want to go ahead and actually open up your own IUL, just click the link in the description to go ahead and book a one-on-one Zoom with me.